When you think about the moments when you realize the extent of your personal power, how often do rollerblades factor in? When I was a young man, everything was about extreme sports. I had a pack of friends who all felt the same way. In between dating and hanging out and forming the identities that would carry us through adulthood, we paintballed, rock climbed, and rollerbladed like maniacs. Harold, our church's youth group leader, was a man of adventure himself, a world traveler and a seasoned entrepreneur. And he knew a good lesson when he saw one. So, one day, Harold said, "While you're out there leaving your skin on sidewalks, why don't you take the opportunity to do something big?" What could that be? We pondered it for a while and then landed on a plan. We'd rollerblade all over Philadelphia looking for coins to give to Harold to do something big. We went everywhere. We had no shame. We stuck our fingers into public telephone slots, video game coin returns, and under drive-through windows after hours. After a few months, our collective efforts generated hundreds of dollars in coins, all packed into empty Cool Whip tubs that we brought back to Harold. He told us, "Now let me show you what money can do." He was never specific about the details, but we found out much later that on one of his adventures in Africa, he put a roof on a church with that money. It was the first time I experienced something powerful being generated out of something small and throwaway. A bunch of kids on rollerblades, a few buckets of lost coins, and people's lives half a world away could be impacted in a significant way. We just needed someone like Harold to inspire us to think about our time and energy differently. Now, fast forward to the days when I decided to leave my tech industry job to buy that juice bar. I had been earning Fortune 500 money, but I had just had to go out on my own. I made contact with the local juice bar that I frequented, and the owners and I decided to go into business together. I took the money I had, negotiated deals, and made it happen. I was scared, but I stepped out in faith. Something was leading me out of my familiar routines and into the realm of calculated risks. Ultimately, the juice bar business tripled in sales after the first year. When I sold the business half a decade later, I more than recouped my investment, and I had vastly exceeded my previous Fortune 500 salary. After that, when I returned to a different corporate job for the benefits I wanted as a young father, I did feel a level of security that I had been missing. I didn't have to work, quite so hard, but chose to anyway. There was consistency, but I missed creating my own structures and rules. So I found ways to keep following my entrepreneurial bent. Until recently, I ran 3 businesses. In April 2017, I left my last steady job to focus on those interests. I exited my latest venture in February of 2022, which was a human resources company that put Canadians to work. I have enough corporate and entrepreneurial experience to know that I can do anything I put my mind to, as long as it's the right thing. After 5 years of cross-border travel between the US and Canada, including the COVID-19 pandemic, my staffing company, Startup, sold for a healthy profit and provided plenty of capital to plow into my next business plan, the one you're watching right now. With the decisions I've made, I support my family, I live out my core values, and I create the conditions for the best life I could lead. It's scary to take risks, but if you think about it, certain risks are just no-brainers. If I took the steady Eddie approach and clung to employment, going through the layoffs and the relocations, the risks wouldn't be worth the rewards. But carefully and systematically building lifestyle businesses, even if they necessitate serious upfront investments of finances and energy, is more than worth it. I would rather have hundreds of paychecks rather than just one. Depend on one employer? No thank you. Depend on hundreds of wonderful clients just like you? Now that's more like it. And ultimately, the best bet I could make is on myself and you. Harold knew it back then. Even a bunch of ruffians on rollerblades can do something big if they just adjust their thinking and behavior ever so slightly. What can a grown man with a lot of experience, insight, willingness to work, and clarity around his values do? It's not rocket science. It's belief.